Welcome to Both Sides Now, featuring the unconventional duo, Dr. Shirley and medium Kelly White. Two perspectives, one world. This is Both Sides Now.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Both Sides Now TV. I'm spiritual medium Kelly White, and tonight Dr. Shirley Pellizzari is out of town, so I'm sorry she won't be here tonight, but we have a really good topic tonight that we'll be discussing soon. And our great producer, John Williams, is here with me tonight. Hi,
Hey,
John.
Kel, can you hear me okay?
I can hear you, and I think you're going to come on screen at some point
You
soon.
got it. Yes, I will be, and I should be coming on any second now. So
Okay, good, good. Oh, I'm so glad to see you tonight. Let's see. Well, I know you're there somewhere. There you are.
there
Hi,
I
John.
am. Hi,
And
honey.
John's in Ohio, and I'm in
Yeah.
Wisconsin, and Shirley's somewhere, I think, in California. But before we begin, I wanted to do 3 shout outs. So the first shout out I want to do is to Dr. Sandy Mazzola. Happy birthday, Sandy. Sandy's one of my favorite people in the world, and he lives in Chicago. He's actually a professor of American history. Think about that. And he's a professional musician, an
Wow.
incredible musician. Oh, John, you would love this guy. He's so bright. You'll just love him. Anyway, happy birthday, Sandy. The second one I want to do a shout out is to my other favorite, Lee and Marlene. And they're big fans of our show. They also live in
Yay.
Chicago, and Lee's a fabulous musician. So I really have the support of musicians. How great is that?
Love that.
And the third shout I want to do is say, I love you, Charlene. Charlene is great. My dear, dear friend. I got to be in Los Angeles for a few days, and I got to spend a little bit of time with Charlene. And Charlene was a guest on our show for the Letting Go show. And
Yes.
her astrology site is finally up, and that is called Astro Destiny Reader. Astro Destiny. I can't read my own writing. Astro Destiny something about .com. What John's going to post it. Sorry,
Yeah,
Shirley.
I will.
That's funny. I can't read my own writing. Dear God. Anyway, so then I'm going to do a little bit of astrology, and then we're going to jump into our really deep topic. It's such a deep topic. We need a little bit of levity
Yeah,
here.
we do. Yeah.
So it's December's this is a interesting month. A lot of intense things going on this particular month as we head out the end of the year for our 2020. Our whole new everything goes on in 2020. So as I have been saying that 2020 is clear vision.
Hmm.
So the thing I want to talk about today with astrology is that on December 12th, we've got a couple of major aspects going on. That's Thursday. So Chiron, which is the wounded healer, it's the planet of it's like a little asteroid, but it's the wounded healer, and it's been retrograde in Aries for I want to say since March. It's been a long time, maybe even April. Anyway, it goes direct on December 12th. So what does that mean? It's a very slow moving planet. And so you're going to feel very strongly everything. If many people have said to me, I'm so sensitive and I'm crying all the time right now, it's this Chiron effect, especially depending on where it is in your chart, but it brings out sensitivity and it makes people more vulnerable, and it's going to be switching gears on the 12th. It's going to go direct. Now, what's interesting about this Chiron, the going direct, it's in Aries. And Aries is what about me? It's all about me. That's Aries. Have you had that? And that's quite true. Um, but because Aries is in Chiron, it's going to force us to look at our deepest wounds
Yeah.
of what we're really talking about today is going to be a deep wound.
Hmm.
And so it's also forces us to look at our identity wound. So when we incarnate, we come in to do something. So we're going to get wounded. First of all, you come to this dimension, you're getting wounded. And that's why we come here. We come to get wounded and to heal. So our soul grows from this. This is why we come here. So the kind of questions that are going to be going around in the next few weeks, in the next several months, but starting about on the 12th is, you know, because it's an Aries, who am I? What are you about? Who are you? Do I really matter? That's a big question. Yeah, you matter. You just have to know that you matter.
Hmm.
Am I an imposter? There's this whole thing about imposter syndrome. And one day, Shirley and I will do a topic on that. I'm going to make a note of that because it's a really good topic. I run into that a lot with my clients. And am I an outright failure? No, you don't come here to fail. You come here to learn every single thing. So this reminds us to do something about our wounds. And in 2020, because of this aspect, start living. It's a time to embrace and live again. So, and embrace your vulnerability. So that's all about this Chiron and Aries going direct starting on December 12th. The next thing that happens on December 12th is we have a full moon in Gemini. And it's the last full moon of the year, and it's a big one because it's in Gemini. It's like a deep longing to break free of chaos. It's a triple conjunction of Venus, Saturn, and Pluto, and so serious challenges in love and money. That's what this brings on. Oh great, and it's all about restoring balance. So it's gonna be quite the ride for the next couple of weeks, and what am I saying, for the next several months? But right now, it's a kind of an intense time, and it will just get more intense. And then, as we get closer, I'm going to talk about um, the my mind is blanked. In the end of at the end of December 26th, and on January 10th, the big eclipse. There are two big
Okay.
eclipses during that time. So I'm going to talk about that next week.
Alrighty.
So, having said all of that, let's, John, you and I are going to talk about anticipatory grief.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought I would explain first what it is and really how we got to this topic
Yeah.
was because I went through this last year and I wrote a blog piece on it.
Yeah.
And you're going through this now. And so
Mm.
many of our listeners
Right.
are going through this. At some point, everybody will go through this
Yeah.
if they're
And believe
attached to
me,
anybody.
when you do, it feels like a bad dream that you are stuck in that you can't even believe is happening.
Yeah.
So it's a bit overwhelming, to say the least.
It it is. And let me just say this, anticipatory grief psychologically is mourning life before it ends. So it means that you would have somebody, a loved one, that you know is going to pass away in a relatively some time. Now
Hmm.
we all know where at some point we are all going to go, but this is more profound because it's imminent. It is going to happen right away or soon or in the next period of time.
Hmm.
I went through this with my mother last year. Well, for several years, but last year was really intense. And the last couple of months was very intense for me.
Yeah.
And even though I'm a medium and even though I know what goes on in life, afterlife, it just doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. You're
Right.
human and you're going to lose your beloved mother. I mean, it's
Yeah.
sucks, but it was really a hard time. So that's what I did is I wrote a piece about it. But John, tell us how you're doing right now with all of this.
Well, today I'm feeling a little stronger. It's you go up and down. So I just felt that you called me earlier today, and I can't thank you enough for how supportive you've been through all of this. I know that it's her time, and it's been hard to accept that, but it's been her time probably for a while,
Hmm.
and now it's getting closer to that time, like we were told today. Maybe a few days. That's what they're anticipating.
Mm,
So it's the finality, Kelly, that's the hardest part.
I do know that. It's really
Yeah.
hard. It's really hard. It's so tough. And as spiritual as you are,
Yeah.
as spiritual as I am, it's that letting go for that last time. And the anticipatory grief is that feeling of, as you said, it's like you're in a dream. It's a
Yeah.
constant. You're in a nightmare
Surreal.
almost. It's surreal.
Yeah.
It never ends. It's and then it doesn't. That's the weirdest part of all. And then I will say this, you do come out on the other side. And I don't mean the person who passed away. Yeah, they go to the other side. But
Right.
as the person that remains, the people that remain here, I just want to know tell you everybody from my own personal experience, you are able to move through so much of this.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it's a really tough thing. You know, one of the things that I wanted to talk about is there are stages in anticipatory
Mhm.
grief. And I'm not sure where we find you in this. So maybe I'm going to read them and
Yeah,
then maybe you'll let me know where you are in this.
sure.
Because often it brings families together, you know,
Yeah.
for good, the bad, the ugly. And I went through it all. Any questions on that? I'm your girl.
Yeah.
So the stages include denial.
Mhm.
That's the first one. Oh, did I go through that with my own mother was in denial.
Right.
Everybody around her was in denial, and I'm like Henny Penny going, no, she is dying. I mean, oh,
Mm.
it's just awful. But denial, this is not happening. He or she will come out of the situation. I
Mhm.
will have time to be with this person
Mhm.
again, and refusal to believe it is the end. That's a tough one, that denial one. It's
Yeah.
tough, but it's so hard to accept it. Then there's anxiety,
Yeah.
fear of the unknown. When will this happen? How much time do I have? It all comes down to how much time. How much time do I have? Typically, not knowing what life will be like without this person.
Yeah.
I mean, how will this leave me? How will I survive? And it all depends on where you are in your growth, well, how well you will survive.
Yeah.
That's a big one. I mean, if I were 21 and lost my mom, I probably would have committed suicide.
Mm.
And my mother had cancer at that time too.
Wow.
Um, I wouldn't have been able to move on. So it all depends on where you are.
Yeah. Yeah.
Then there's dread, guilt, helplessness, hopelessness, and feeling completely overwhelmed. There was a stage I included called the roller coaster
That's how I
because
feel.
I'm sad today. I'm angry today. My loved one is better today. My
Yeah.
loved one is worse today. Too many
Yeah.
ups and downs to process. What is happening?
Yes. That's
Is that
exactly
about where
it.
you are right now?
That's what it is. And then today kind of levels out a little bit more because of hearing, before it was a couple weeks, now it's a few days. You know what I mean? It's kind of a plummet that's happening at the moment, but I have to trust that it's for her highest good. And honestly, the toughest things there's like because she stopped eating and then yesterday she had a bunch of jello, so we're just like, wow, that's quite a surprise. And then I
Right.
got these honey sticks, to swab her mouth and
That's a
that.
great idea.
Yeah, and it's at Bob Evans, by the way, because they have a Bob Evans here, and they have these honey sticks that go in your tea.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, my cousin got that for her, and I've been putting them, and she loves that. And um, just different things where you think that she's springing back, but then not enough to
I know.
spring forward, if that makes sense.
I
It's like,
completely, yeah.
so
My
it's that
one day
roller
my mother
coaster.
my mother sprang up and she said to me, my mom of all people, she said, I want a McDonald's and I want 3 Big Macs. I'm like,
Yeah,
okay,
wow.
seriously,
When she
what?
wasn't eating at that time at all, and
No,
yeah.
no. So she goes, go now. I want 3 Big Macs. I
Wow.
hadn't been to a McDonald's in I don't know how many years. I didn't even know how to go through the drive-through, and I'm on Sunset Boulevard, and I'm like,
Yeah.
I go now. So I go, do you want fries? No. And I go, okay, what else? Do you want a shake? I want a shake. So
Yeah.
I went through the McDonald's line, 3 Big Macs. Now my mom was so tiny, she couldn't have 3 bites. So I dutifully bought the 3 damn Big
Such a
Macs.
good daughter.
I'm a good daughter.
You are.
And I got the shake. I think I even got fries, probably for me. And
Mm.
I brought them home, and my stepdad looked at me and said, what do you have? And I go, Mom wanted McDonald's.
Yeah.
She goes, what? He's like, what? So I go, Mom, hopefully she didn't forget. Here, I got the 3 Big Macs. She goes, God is my witness. 3 Big Macs?
And you know what? Carol's bringing up a great point. That's the rally, and we're going to talk
Totally,
about that
Carol.
soon, about what that stage is, because one thing that was really helpful for me was with hospice, which mom was in. They
Yeah.
they gave us a booklet that talks about the stages, and then which we'll get into as well, um, and comparing it to a butterfly and the stages
Oh,
of a cocoon before you become the butterfly. And my mom is in that real sleep state right now, but she has her moments when she does wake up and make eye contact. Today she knew I was there, and she looked at me and she goes, "Do you love me?"
Oh,
Yeah.
oh, John. Oh,
And I said, "Of course, I do."
yeah.
And gave her a big hug.
Such a good son.
And
Oh,
she goes, "I love you very much." And she's not even really
ah,
talking all that much. And so,
ah,
and her hearing is going, and but the stage I think that she's in is that in between spirit and body, physical,
yeah.
like going in and out
Well,
of.
and that's what happens. First, I just want to say that's the
Yeah,
sweetness. That's the gift. The
yeah,
gift is what you just talked. When I talk about the gift of anticipatory grief, that's the gift, what you just got. So that I want you to always hold on to because that's what you will remember. That's the takeaway. That's the gift. Please hold
yeah.
on to that. Um, yeah, it is always going to be like a roller coaster of emotions with this. But what happens is the soul who's in body still and
Yeah.
still here with us is also 50%, 60%, 80% on the other side. They
Yeah.
are already having visitors with their mom, their sisters, their husbands,
Mhm.
whomever, good friends. They're already there with them.
Yeah.
You're never, when you pass, you're never alone. It's not possible. And in my case, I'll never forget, my mother, a week before she passed, she said, I said, who would you want to be with you if you were to pass? Because my mom was in such denial. And
Mhm.
she said, without missing a beat, I said, do you want your father? She said, no. I said, do you want your mother? Which I knew she didn't like her mother. So she said, no. And I said, "Who would you like?" She goes, "I want your father." Now they weren't even they couldn't stand each other. I
Wow.
said, "You want my dad?" You
Yeah.
She said, "Yes." I said, "Why?" She said, "Because he was the most fearless man I ever knew." And
Oh.
she was so afraid of dying that she
Mm.
couldn't accept it. She couldn't accept it.
Right.
And so this was part of my anticipatory grief, going through huge emotions with
Yes.
this, huge
Yeah.
swings with this, because so looked up and I said, Dad, who had been gone 5 years before, you be there for mom. You
Mhm.
be there. And then I was driving home that night. I was on the 405 freeway, and my dad was a well known musician, and one of
Yeah.
his songs came on, blasted on. I took a picture of
Oh.
it, and I took a picture of it. I was so stunned. Sent it to everybody I knew. I was like, "Oh my God, look!"
Wow.
So I knew he was there for her, and
Yeah.
when she passed, he was there. So you're never alone when you pass, no matter how
Right.
you die. You're never alone. The call goes out 6 to 8 weeks in advance.
Wow. 6 to 8 weeks. I didn't
Yeah.
realize that.
So the person that's embodied still here would be seeing everybody that they need to see.
Yes.
And so there's no fear. In fact, if anything, when my mom passed, at that last moment, she slipped out of her body. There was no any
Hmm.
death rattle or anything that they say.
Right.
None of
Right.
that.
Right.
But again, you don't know because I was so anxious about what was
Mhm.
going to happen. And I'm like, Dad, you better be there, you know. And I knew he was. So then I was
And I also hear
calm.
that there is a process like you were talking about that's where they're in and out. Their senses might be going,
Yes.
but yet they can hear and see everything from a spiritual perspective, not for the physical body, but in that spiritual stage.
Right.
It's because there's certain things that there's no way my mom could hear, but then she wakes up and opens her eyes and looks right at me when she
Yeah.
hears it in spirit somehow,
Right.
but
And
she's not hearing physically.
right. And then what happens is when I do a reading for a person and that person has already passed over and I'm doing a reading
Hmm.
for, like, say, you, the
Yeah,
mother will say, "Oh no, I heard every word. And
yeah,
I was there," because often they are on the other side
yeah,
listening to you. And once the soul actually leaves the body, they are witnessing everything.
yeah.
They're watching everything.
And I think that might be why she's hanging around, because my mom was very depressed and was ready to go a long time ago. So the fact that
Really?
she's holding on
Yeah.
right now, there's got to be a reason of why she's holding on, because you would think that someone who's ready to go would have left by now. Do you know what
I
I'm
I would
saying?
like to say that, but it doesn't. Absolutely, you'd think that, but
Yeah.
it actually doesn't. The soul has the divine exit, the divine timing of exactly when. And the reason it is that way is
Hmm.
so everybody who needs to be there, anybody that needs anything, this they're working their magic, if you
Hmm.
will, during
Okay.
that time. This
Yeah.
is for all the anticipatory grief. This is it's no more a rehearsal. It's this
Mm,
is it. The show
yeah,
begins, and it's a very intense time. And then, as you mentioned, depression. That's
yeah,
one of the stages because it's too much to process. I mean,
yeah.
frankly, you might be low energy, which I think you are, John. I think you're
Mhm,
exhausted, and I think you're
mhm.
probably wiped out, and all of that is part of this depression because you're on a roller coaster. But
Yeah,
you don't know. You just know one thing: something is
right.
going to happen.
Yeah.
You know that something will happen, and then there's finally this thing called acceptance.
Mm,
And
mhm.
that's, there is a time limit on this event. Being present in the here and now, which is what you've been doing, John. You've been really present, and it's one moment at a time. And
Yeah.
for some, that may prompt a conscious closure before the loss for some
Mm,
people. I didn't have that. I couldn't have that. I was too close to my mom.
yeah,
I couldn't intellectualize any of it. I just couldn't.
yeah.
I don't care that I'm a medium. I could not intellectualize. I couldn't deal with it. It was very hard.
It is. It is. And it's interesting you were mentioning about who she wanted to meet over on
Mhm.
the other side because, we've talked about this before about how everyone plays a role.
Yeah.
And the role that they play on Earth may not be the same role they're playing on the other side. In fact, a lot of
Yeah.
times what we've learned, right, is that
Yeah.
some of the people who are your darkest teachers are the people who love you the most and play that role or volunteer.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. What I found though, that the person that comes to get them
Mhm.
is somebody that they really love while they're here because it
Mhm.
doesn't scare them.
Yeah.
But I was surprised my mom asked for my dad. And dad was like, "What?"
Yeah.
But because she was right, because she was so afraid of death. And he was
Yeah.
so fearless. It was brilliant on her move, I have to say. Um, but it's almost always somebody that you really love. And then
Mhm.
on the other side, when they're having their life review and they're having their meet and greet, they
Mhm.
will be with the ones that were the deepest teachers. That often in a side room somewhere they'll meet with other guides. This one was
Mm.
horrible to me, and then, well, this was the role he played, and then
Yeah.
it expands your view, and then your soul goes, "Oh, I get it now."
Mm.
You know?
Yeah. And that's who I really feel for is like my sister who was through
Oh,
the brunt of it before I even got here. That she was in such a horrible state. My mom was in a horrible state before, and then it improved over time, and now she's more comfortable. So now they got her on what's called the liquid morphine, but it's underneath the tongue. It's not the
yeah.
the drip. And I'm hearing her go in and out and talking more in her sleep than ever before. So I know the
She's
stage.
having
Yeah,
visitors, and she's
yeah,
doing her thing. It sounds like you
yeah,
have made it's making it very peaceful for her,
yeah. We're
you
doing our
know?
best, and we have amazing care from the hospice and all the wonderful nurses and nurses aides and family that's been so supportive. And it's been very healing and cathartic and so much. And all we want is her to be out of pain, no longer suffering. And so we're trying to keep her
Mm,
physical body out of pain. We do
mhm,
realize that that also does affect sort of the lucidness and the coherentness of everything, but
mhm.
we want to keep the physical body out of pain because in spiritual
Right.
we know she's able to hear and see and
Absolutely.
everything, even though she may not be able to physically convey. And that's why I told her today, I was like, just communicate however you can, if it's in my dreams, if it's through
Right.
a medium, if it's however, just send me
And
some
hold her
messages.
hand.
I've been
Hold her
holding hand.
hand, which is lovely. I saw a picture of your mom with
Yeah,
you holding her hand. It was just lovely.
I'm
When
gonna put up that picture, by
put
the
up
way.
that picture. And let me just
Yeah.
say this, there are a few things to do when you're in anticipatory grief. I mean, number 1, allow your feelings to flow. Look at unresolved issues if you can, because I'll tell you why. This is the deepest time of your friggin' life. It doesn't get
Mhm.
deeper. Do you know? This is deep. So go with that emotion, go into the deepness of it. You
Yeah.
will get consumed, you will, but I promise you you'll come out of it. It's really allowing those feelings of unresolved whatever it happens to be to come through. Second thing is educate yourself on what to expect about the symptoms, the
Mhm.
side effects, the prognosis. It's going to help you feel like you're in control.
Yeah.
Believe me,
It's
nobody's in
so
control
true.
here, but
Right.
God's in control here. But
Right.
you just
It helps you prepare a little
helps
bit.
you prepare,
Yeah.
helps you, gives you something to hold
Anticipate
on
as the
to.
as the subject is. Yeah,
Yes, and then
yeah.
talk to somebody, whether it's online, whether it's in
Mhm.
person or over the phone, whether it's a therapist or a friend, but do talk to somebody while you're going through this anticipatory grief because it's a lot to hold on to. I
Yeah.
talked to Shirley. I think I talked to you too, John. I
You
talked
did.
to anybody that would listen. Well, that's not
Mhm.
quite true. I was kind of private about it at the time, probably.
Yeah.
I think I mostly talked to Shirley about it. And of course my
Mhm.
husband Don, he was great and he went through this many
Mhm.
times. He's lost like a lot of people.
Mm.
Um, and then the other thing is you're not, I want to make sure I make a point of this. You're not disrespectful to your family member who's passing away if you express your frustration. So in other
Mm.
words, like I would say to Shirley, mostly to Shirley, poor Shirley, I'm exhausted, Shirley.
Mhm.
Nobody's helping me. I can't take this. I don't want to lose my mom. I mean, it
Oh,
was
no.
really rough.
And you were such a superwoman to begin with, and then on top of everything, I
I
mean,
still was
I don't know
doing my
how you did it
practice.
all.
Well, I will
Yeah.
tell you, enlist help if you can. In other words, like live your life to the best degree you can, and you'll have a little more energy. Like I still worked full time. I still did everything I had to do.
Mhm.
I don't know how I did it. I actually, to look back, I go, how did I do that?
Yeah.
But I had support. And the other thing is you want to create moments that your family members can enjoy. So, for instance, with your mom, John, tell
Mhm.
us about your singing. Because John is a fabulous singer and
Mhm.
musician, and you were singing to her.
I have been singing to her.
Okay,
Normally alone, when I have my alone time with her, I sing, but sometimes there's other family members present. But I've been singing the songs that I know that she loves. I've been singing like "Love Lift Us Up Where We Belong,"
great
which is
song.
duet, and singing "His Eyes on the Sparrow," and just other songs that she's very Christian, so some Christian songs as well, and praying with
So,
her,
it
and
was her Christian belief that Jesus would come to get her.
probably.
Now, if that's the case, then Jesus would be there for her.
Hmm.
It is really what your belief system is, your
Hmm.
structure is set up for.
Yeah.
But often it's a loved one. It can be Jesus, it can be Mary, it can be angels, it can be your
Hmm.
guides, you know.
Yeah.
But if
So
she comes specifically with a Christian background,
yeah.
that
So here's my mama and her. She's the redhead. Do you guys see the pictures? Is it
Rue
showing up?
McClanahan, I think the actress on what was that show, John? The
Golden
Golden
Girls.
Girls.
Yeah.
How cute is she? Mom's
Yeah.
beautiful.
Maybe a
Total
little Debbie
actress here.
Reynolds too. And then so that's my
Totally.
grandmother in the middle. And the reason I'm showing this picture is to show you how the transition
Yeah.
is really taking a toll. And then this is my Aunt Rosalie, who passed as well. So they're both in spirit. And this is the picture that I brought into her. This is on her phone. This is actually her phone wallpaper. Uh, but we brought in the picture today just to sit it by, and I kept showing it to her, and she would
Good.
say, "Nice picture," and then and then I would put it down, and then she'd want to she'd do like see it again. She want to see it
Mm,
again. So this is the let me stop the screen share, and then I'll bring on the next picture.
okay.
Um, this is me holding her hand, and this is just to show you. Um, let's see. I think it's the 440 one. Let me see. Is this the one? Is that showing again?
No, it's the
No,
same
that's the
one. Yeah.
same one. Okay, let me try. Let's see what it is. Okay, so that should be. We're gonna try this. Hopefully this works. It keeps showing the same one. I don't think my mom wants
I don't think so.
to.
I think the
I
third
don't.
time.
Yeah, is it not showing now?
No. Mm-mm.
Yeah.
I guess spirit is
See,
like, it's not going to
i-
happen.
yeah. Well, I'll
My
try
mom
one
would
more
have
time. The
killed
third
me
time
if
is
I
the
had done
charm.
that.
So that's probably why she's not letting me. Let's see.
Yes, sir.
Is that
Yeah.
coming up?
It is
Yeah.
now. Yeah. So you can see a huge difference, as she's
Yeah.
transcending. Yeah. Bless her
Yeah.
heart. Bless her heart, John. Show the picture where, if you have it, where you are holding her hand. It's really sweet.
That was the one I was trying to bring up,
Oh,
and I was lucky even to get that one to show. Let me
well,
see if I can do one more. And so that should be the four. Yeah, it's
that's
kind of giving
okay.
the same number, but I will
That's
try
okay.
here. Let's see.
Well,
There we go.
that's sweet. And you're just there holding
Yeah,
her hand. I mean, that's another gift right there.
yeah,
That's a one. And there's a lot of gifts in anticipatory grief. And what I've
yeah.
discovered from that would be, despite family personality challenges, and we
Hmm.
had a lot of that. You may not have that, John. We sure did. I felt comfort in all of us being together
Yeah.
during that. Somehow in my case, we were all nicer to each other, maybe because we had less energy to waste, and life was so real at that moment.
Hmm.
We were giving more, we were listening more, there was less hostility, less withholding, and those are the moments that really count. you know and
Yeah.
the other thing is, this period can be used to resolve issues with the dying person. In cases where
Right.
guilt is in the relationship, or
Yes.
anger, it is
Hmm.
possible to have deep repair, because this time has the possibility of profound healing. Like, I know you had some guilt, John, because you hadn't spent
Oh
too much
yeah.
enough time there, but there were reasons
Right.
why.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's been a big part of it actually. Was processing that because yeah, yeah. But I've apologized and I'm making the best I can of the
Mhm.
moment in the moment. I think that's really important for people to know is that you just take it moment by moment. You don't sort of really plan ahead for anything. You just kind of
Just be in the present
yeah,
state. And it's interesting as people share their stories about anticipatory grief and what they went through. There's a lot of wisdom in that. A lot of
yeah,
wisdom.
yeah,
And yeah, Daryl, you're absolutely right. What a sweet picture. She knows you are there. Oh, for sure, for sure.
yeah,
And I can't remember, was it Katrina? Somebody asked us, no, it was Kathleen, I think, who said, talk to us about dementia or
yeah.
Alzheimer's.
Mhm,
And it's the same anticipatory grief, because
mhm.
you're witnessing and you're there. You just don't know when the time would be. But when
Right.
somebody has dementia or Alzheimer's, or if somebody's had a head injury, or if somebody has huge, huge change, it makes it so tough. But it is all anticipatory grief. You go through these
Yeah,
exact stages. It's the same thing, you know.
yeah. And that's the
Oh,
most
that's
sweetest
so
picture. Now, do you
sweet,
see how
John.
much she's changed even
Yeah,
from a week
yeah,
ago? This was
yeah.
probably more than a week ago, but about a
Oh,
week ago.
with that
And
lovely
that's my
baby.
beautiful grandniece,
Ah,
Nora.
who's
Yeah,
is going to be a big celebrity one day. That little
yeah.
one, she
She's
is
a beautiful.
beautiful. But what a great shot! I mean, in my case, my little grandson August was 9 months old when my mom and he was passing, and
Mm,
he was there visiting about 3 or 4 days before, and she got to hold him and just love on him, and
mhm.
she loved that so much, and
Aw,
that was the gold to me. That was the
yes,
sweetest
yes,
time ever. I mean, you will
yeah,
remember these times forever, because in life, the fact that you're given this time, often people just die of a heart attack. You don't get this time.
right.
I mean,
You're right,
really,
you're
oh, you
right.
hit by a bus, or,
Yeah,
whatever. You don't get this.
yeah,
I mean, that's probably not a good example, but yeah. And oh, Cece, you're right on. Tell her the good times that you have with her. John, that's
yeah,
really true.
yeah,
Remember, mom, when we did this? Remember
yeah,
when we did that? Oh, my mom loved here. We talked and we laughed. We
yeah,
really did. I mean, it was really an incredible time.
yeah.
Oh yeah, you must express yourself. Charlene knows that. I mean, her mom.
Mhm.
I mean, I'm sure, Charlene, you have had some anticipatory grief. Her mother's been ill for some time.
Mm.
Susie says, my mom came to me in spirit when she was passing. Wow, Susie. You're so lucky. You're
Mhm.
very, very lucky that you had that experience. I got gypped from that experience because I think my dad swept my mom off. And
Oh,
that was the end
right.
of that, which he always wanted her alone. And there you go. That's what happened. So
Yeah.
that's great, Susie, that you got to see her in passing in spirit. That's
Yeah,
extraordinary. Up to that moment, it's extraordinary. I mean, it's such an incredible time.
it is.
But I know how wounding it is, and I know how sad it is.
Yeah,
eh, All the feelings that go with this period.
yeah,
It's an intense time. Have
it
you
is.
had dreams, John, of anything?
Not that I can
Okay.
recall. And they always say if you can recall them, especially if they make a huge, lasting
Uh,
impact on you, that's more of a visitation than a dream, right?
It is absolutely, it
Yeah.
can be,
Mhm.
but I really want to encourage anybody who's going through the situation. Keep a journal. Like, really, John, keep a
Mhm.
journal. Write some notes. This date, this, she said this, because I don't want you to forget any of those, the gem times, the times that are
Right.
really important, the most important time. And, breathe,
Yeah.
meditate if you can. I
Yeah.
found that this is what helped me.
Right.
Go for a walk, take a long bath. And frankly, I drank a lot of wine. In fact, I think I drank a lot, period, during that time.
Mm.
Have dinner with a close friend. And although it feels like it, no man is an island to himself. So
Mm.
if you can, go be with somebody who knows your mom, whether it's a
Yeah.
sibling. I spent some time with my mom's closest girlfriends during
Mm.
this time. I have to say, really helpful for me.
Yes.
Those were the ones that helped me the most, probably, if I really
Yeah.
think about it.
Right.
I
Yeah.
mean,
No, for sure. And I've been spending time with cousins and stepsisters and various people that I haven't seen in ages, and it's been so
right?
healing.
It's so
So
healing. It's
healing.
so cathartic,
Yeah.
right?
Of course, my sister's been amazing, and my family's been amazing through it all. I mean, they're all my family. You know what I mean? Like,
Yes.
regardless if they're step or half or what
Oh,
have you, we're all in this together and family, and
well,
that's
it's so
yeah.
true. My half brother Theo, who's my brother, Theo Katzman, he wrote a song about it,
Mm,
about because I said to him, I said, I'm going to tell you the story, and I tell him a story how our mom wanted our father to come and get her. He said, really? Even though they'd been long divorced, they
mm,
didn't even couldn't stand each other. How is that possible? I said, Theo, love still is there. What can
yeah,
I say? It
yeah.
just was. And he was so, his mind was blown. And as soon as anyway, he wrote this song. The song was so incredible. And it was performed at my mom's memorial.
Oh
That
wow.
song, there wasn't a dry eye in the house. And as soon as his third album is going to be released, I
Hmm.
think in January, I think he said.
Cool.
And when that album is released, I'll put that song up. There's a video to it and everything.
Oh, wonderful.
It'll blow your mind. It's so amazing. But these
Yeah,
were all the things that were gifts to me during a time of great intensity,
yeah,
great change was coming.
yeah.
And who likes change? And who
No,
wants to release their mother? Nobody,
no,
unless you had a
nobody.
bad mother, by the way.
Right,
Even if you've had a bad mother, it's usually they don't
right,
want to release them.
right. Yeah, no, I find it even difficult to sing, because I just break down, especially depending on the songs, but she always loved when I would belt out, and I would do my best to muster the strength to do so, and
Yeah.
I can't even fast forward to the funeral or celebration of life or any of that stuff. Like I said, I'm just taking it day by day.
Just take it day by day.
But so
That will
much
be a
pressure is on
different,
my
yeah.
sister, and I feel the need to be there for her, to be strong
Mhm.
for her. She's working. She has kids. She has the grandkids. And I mean, it's the poor
And
girl.
what a vital role for you to play.
Yeah,
What a vital role that
yeah,
you're doing that. Because in order, the person that's the forefront here has to have support.
yeah,
So the supporting person is probably the most important because you're holding the rest of everybody up.
yeah. I'm trying.
It's a big role.
Yeah,
I know you are,
it
honey. I
is.
know it's really a rough one. I
And
know.
I know we're about 40 minutes in, and we usually run about 60 minutes. So I just want to give people the option if they like. We don't have the call system because I'm working from a laptop that's not working, but we can do video calls. So we've
Mhm. If
had some
anybody,
people that were wonderful. Daryl helped out, Kathleen helped out,
mhm.
and Katrina
Katrina.
helped out. Yeah, and so if you guys want to call in on the video call, the link is posted on the screen
Mhm.
on the Both Sides Now page, and also in the our community. So please join the community. It's free. That's our support group, and that's where we post most of the content, and we're there to support one another through it. And that's why Kelly called me today to check on me to see how things are going with mom and all that, and wanted to make sure that I was up for this. And I wasn't sure I was going to be able to because I've been crying all day and up and down, and but I'm felt that I needed to do this. We both are
Yeah.
going. Kelly went through this 2018 or 2017.
No, 18,
Yeah.
April of
So
2018.
just last year, and
Hmm.
it's still fresh, and
Oh,
and
yeah.
you know, and I was talking to Daryl earlier, and Daryl's been through this with both her mother and her son.
Oh,
And so I
oh,
actually
that's a
have
killer.
Daryl on, and I'm going to bring Daryl on if she's willing to,
Okay.
because I brought her on when we were testing earlier. So I'd love to have her on. So Daryl, are you with us,
Hi.
sweetheart?
Hi,
There you
Daryl.
are.
That's really
Hi.
sweet of you to be
Yeah.
here live with us. Tell us about your loss.
Well, as I was talking with John earlier, when my mom passed, I was living out of state. And every time I
Yeah.
would speak to her, she says, "Oh, please move home, please move home." Well, when she was in hospice and I was up there for days and weeks, and my sisters and I and brothers, we have a big family. Somebody was always there with her. And I had to go, I had to leave to go back to work. And they told me, well, it's going to be some time before she passes.
Mm.
And when I left, she was in and out, in and out. And I leaned over, knowing this would be the last time I
Mm.
would be speaking to my mother, which was very difficult. And I said, "I love you, Mommy." And she opened her eyes and she said, "I love you, Daryl."
Mm.
Wow.
And I was like in shock. That was
Good.
the last
Wow.
thing she said.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
all the way home, I said, "How do you say goodbye to your mother?" And I told her,
oh,
Can't.
"It's okay for you to go and be with Daddy. It's
yeah.
okay." I got on the plane. I flew back to Florida from New York. I was home 20 minutes and I got the phone call to come back because she passed.
Oh,
And
So
what a gift though for you.
it
What a
was. It
gift,
really
Daryl.
was. It really was.
really,
Oh my
and
God.
that's the thing, Cal, and you've talked about that before. You don't really need to be there when they pass. It's always a great blessing to sometimes be there, depending on
Hmm.
how the process is. If it's not the death rattle and all that, the
Right.
horrible. But at the
Right.
same time, I've had 4 or 5 people tell me, "Don't be surprised if she leaves when you're not here." Like if she pet.
Well, I have great stories on that.
Yeah.
Actually, that happened to Don. My husband was so close to his mother. I mean, there was
Mm.
never a closer son ever. And Don was, he was in Los Angeles and she was out here in Wisconsin. And so he would come all the time and he was there for about a month and he didn't leave her side. And
Oh.
the one time he was in a nursing home and he said, "Mom, I'm gonna go and I'm gonna go take a shower. I'll be right back." He hadn't left her like in 30 straight days.
Mm-mm.
And
Mm.
that's when she passed. There
Mm.
was no way she could have passed with him there. He was holding her back. And that's
Right.
often the case.
Right.
That
Right.
is in my case with my mom. My mom was a bit of a narcissist. She wanted all of us always there. And at the end, she said to me, we were all hovered around her with hospice and everything. And
Yeah.
talk about anticipatory. It was like out of a Hollywood friggin' movie.
Right.
She goes, "Kelly, what's happening?" I said, "You're dying, Mom." She goes, "No." And I said, "Yeah." And then she said, "Carol," she didn't believe me. So she went to my sister. "What's happening? You're dying, Mom." She went around the room. "Everybody, you're dying." She says to her husband, my stepfather, "What's happening?" And he said, "You're going to be fine." I said, "Have you lost your mind?" Now, this is all going on in the middle of this.
Oh
Oh,
my.
yeah.
Right.
So
Oh
all
yeah.
kinds of strong emotions come up. Hi,
Right.
Joanne.
Hi
Right.
guys.
Hey,
Hi
Hi there.
Joanne.
John.
Hi,
I just wanted
sweetheart.
to come on and tell you you've been in my heart. I've been thinking of you. I just
Thank
sending
you.
you big hugs. It's one of the hardest things. My mom's going to be gone 3 years on the
Oh,
15th and not a day goes by, John.
right.
So,
Yeah.
I'm just glad that you're able to spend this time with her. This is wonderful that you're able to spend this time. So,
Yeah.
Thank
Yeah.
you, honey.
Joanne,
don't
did you have anticipatory grief?
I didn't have a chance. I don't know where the camera is. Oh, there it is. My mom wasn't feeling well. We were away for a couple days. We came home, and unfortunately, the next morning I had gotten up and she had passed away. I found her.
Wow. Oh,
It was just,
Oh
you
that's
know,
God.
that's a whole other type
Mm.
of
yeah.
grief and
So
trauma.
Right.
it
Mm,
sucks any way you look at it.
totally.
Exactly.
But I really have been thinking about you a lot, and
Thank you,
you
sweetie.
know, uh,
Yeah.
I just want to come on, even though I'm in my pajamas and I look
You
like
look great.
a
You look
rag.
great, and I love your tree.
Oh,
Yeah.
thanks. I know. Here's my little girl with me. Look. Oh, she just turned around. I don't know if you could see her.
Very
Stop it.
sweet.
Love the fur
You know,
babies.
I was going to say another thing that happens during this transitory time is the
Mm-hmm.
animals will come by. The
Mm.
animals will come by. So
Yeah.
if your mom had animals, they'll come
Mm-hmm.
by. The ones that
Mhm.
have passed, they'll come into, everybody kind of comes in. And the
Yeah.
other thing is look for a special light, some light that just seems to emanate off the person.
Mm.
So
Well, my
interesting.
mom has had that glow for a
Yeah,
while.
there
Yeah.
you go.
Yeah.
No. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
just
Yeah.
think about what you're doing for her now, John. Don't
yeah.
think about what you haven't done, because you know what?
Mhm.
We do that,
Right.
shoulda, coulda, woulda.
Yeah.
My mom loved going to Walmart. I hated Walmart. Still, she'll be gone 3 years. I go, that damn Walmart. I should have took her to Walmart.
Yeah. I get that too. I keep saying I should have moved back. I should have
Yeah.
moved back, but
Yeah.
Oh, that's what
I
I
don't
feel,
know.
Daryl. I've been feeling that for a while,
I,
and I plan to actually have. I wanted to do that. I really did,
right.
Yeah.
to spend and be the caregiver in those last golden years. And I can't
Right.
believe how quickly this happened. I mean, my
Right.
mom
Yeah.
went in because her legs were giving out, and then they went in and they did some exploratory, tests and things like that, and found that she had an abscess in her gut. Went
Mm.
through the surgery, and then, I mean, before all of this, she was, I mean, feeding herself, moving around, everything. I mean, this is something that just kind of uh,
Out of the blue.
happened really quickly,
Yeah, it
really
did
quickly,
happen fast. I
really
knew,
quickly.
John, when you said, I'm thinking about going back, and I'm like,
Yeah,
no, you need to go. I just
yeah.
could tell. I knew something there was going to be a quick switch here.
And
Mm.
you were so supportive, especially through the surgery too, and knew that she was
Mhm.
going to make it out of that. And
I
you
knew
all have
she'd
been
make it out
part
of
of,
that. Yeah.
yeah. And
Right.
then it's just, we never anticipated this plummet so
I
Right.
quickly.
know. And
And
that's
you
the thing
just
Yeah,
with the
spoke about
soul.
that.
yeah,
Yeah.
You just spoke about that not too long ago, and
yeah,
that's
Yeah.
like what I had said to you. I was praying for you
yeah.
and your mom and give you
I can't
strength
thank you enough,
because
honey.
it is difficult to let
Yeah,
go. But you want
Yeah.
to. I don't think you ever let go. You really
No.
don't,
No.
no.
because they're in your heart. You are
Always.
part of them. They're part of you, and I sometimes wonder. With my son, it was um, it
Mm,
was a shock. It was surprise. It was
Ah,
unexpected. It was something that
mm,
he wasn't sick. He just passed
yeah.
due
wow.
to traumatic events.
Oh,
But
Mm,
and I wonder sometimes which is better because of watching my mom
yeah.
and wanting to do
Mhm.
something and not being able to, or
right.
just hearing the news my son passed.
Well,
Oh,
that would be such a trauma. And your son's around you with your mom, just so you know, Daryl. You're not
Mm,
alone there. He
mm,
loves this time period with you too. I want to say
Mhm.
he loves Christmas time with you. So that's a big deal here.
mm,
He
Right.
said uh, it was a shock to him. It seems like it was a shock to him.
mm,
And
Yeah.
it's up there with would you rather be blind or deaf? I mean, they're all bad choices,
Right.
know, are
Exactly.
difficult choices,
yeah.
you know.
And Daryl, share the story, if you don't mind, about what your son just experienced. Your son that's here.
Oh, with the waking him up.
Yeah, yeah,
Oh, my son Christopher, who you spoke with a couple of weeks ago, um, he
yeah.
set
He
his
called
alarm.
in.
He had to be to work at a certain time, and he didn't want to oversleep. And he woke up and he said, "Oh, I can't get up yet. I still have time." And he fell back to sleep. He said, and all of a sudden he felt this someone shaking him,
Wow.
and he said,
Mm,
"I knew it was Casey." because that's how Casey used to wake him up for work when they were running late. He kept saying, "Get up, get up, get up."
Mm.
And he goes,
Wow.
and I was like, "Oh." And he said,
Oh,
I almost felt, I said, "Casey, stop." You know, he knew it was him
wow.
Mm.
waking him
Yeah,
up.
he's going to be around you guys for some time. Good
Mm.
for
Yes.
that. I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing your life
Oh,
experiences with us, Daryl.
Yes,
Really
you're
means
welcome.
a
Daryl.
lot to us. Thank you
Thank
And
for
you.
sharing
Joanne,
it to
thank you.
everybody. And Joanne, you're so
Yeah.
lovely. Thank you for sharing your
Yes.
Yeah.
stories with us too.
Yes,
Thank
thank
you.
you. And we're thinking of you, John. We love you.
Mm.
Yeah, it's something we keep
Yeah.
praying, John.
Yes,
Love you.
Yeah.
absolutely.
And keep singing. She hears you. Keep
Yes,
singing.
she does.
Absolutely.
I will. I
Yeah.
will. And
She
maybe
does.
one of these days, if Facebook doesn't do this, because I would sing on the show, but Facebook has this thing with copyright, and they don't allow certain music to get played over the air. So that's the only reason I
Oh.
probably
Oh, I
have.
didn't know that. Really?
Oh.
Yeah, certain songs. It
Mm.
just, yeah, I just have to
Mm.
figure out. But
We'll
one of
just
these
have to
days.
call you and you can sing to us on the phone.
There
That's
you go.
right.
Well, I put up links. I'll put up
Yes,
links
I
of
do
what I've
Put
been
up
Yes.
your
playing for
links.
her.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, what I've been
Do
Yes.
playing
that
for
because
her.
that'll help people.
Oh,
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah, I've
Yeah,
been
do
like I
that.
told
Because
Kelly, I've been singing "Love Lift Us Up Where We Belong" or "Lord Lift Us Up Where We Belong." You know that song? It's a duet. Joe Cocker, I think, and
mm.
someone.
Somebody, yeah.
Yeah,
And you and like I said earlier, the songs when you hear them that you relate them to
yeah,
when I did this. I was telling John earlier I went to church today. I made it through the whole mass. I was really good. And in the end, the first three notes I heard they were going to do Ave Maria, and the
mm,
first three
That's
notes,
one of
the tears started coming.
Ah,
I thought of my son. I thought of my mother. I
yeah,
had to leave church,
I
mm,
but
understand.
I
I keep
something
saying I
wonderful happened after it though.
yeah.
I went to the pier, the
yeah,
fishing pier, and I met these wonderful fishers who made life sound so great and made me feel so much better.
Oh,
And it was just a wonderful morning.
oh,
I
how
had that
mm,
for so
fabulous.
long. Yeah.
yeah,
Wow.
And that
Oh, that's
song
great.
started it,
Wow. How
Mhm.
great.
right? And my
yeah.
mother was a professional musician and sang it and played it. So I know
I
That's
that she
got
so
was with
chills.
me. It
Wow.
right.
was
For
with
Sure,
me.
sure.
yeah.
For
Beautiful.
sure.
Yeah.
Wow.
It was great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
God.
It
Well,
feels
you
Well,
good to be able to
ladies.
talk like this. And John, after a while, you'll be able to speak like this too. It's
Well,
just,
I know that I'm able to do this tonight because of all your guys' prayers and support through this whole journey. And I wouldn't be able to do this without
yeah.
the strength that
yeah.
you guys have been, sending my way with the prayers and the healing energy
Mm.
for my mom and all of that. And I can't honestly thank you enough for all of this because I know I'd be a basket case, and I have been in times when
Oh,
I'm putting on a
sure.
brave as best I can right now because I know that it's necessary to
Hmm.
share this because you just don't understand what it's like
Mhm.
until you go through it. You hear about
Mhm.
all of this, but when you're actually going through it, it's so
Totally
surreal.
different. It's
Right.
It's
totally
so
different.
Mhm.
many emotions and
Hmm.
so it's such a process and
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that article, Kelly, you wrote on the gift of anticipatory grief
Yeah. A lot of
and
gifts involved in
resonated
this
so
Uh-huh.
time.
well. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, a
Yes.
lot of gifts in this
Yeah.
time. So just enjoy every
Yeah.
moment,
Right.
you know,
Yes.
and be at peace, John. Be at peace.
Yeah.
You are there for her.
Hmm.
You know,
And
Yeah.
she
that's,
knows.
and she knows. She knows.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She
Yes.
knows what a wonderful son you are, John.
Oh, truly,
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
truly.
I've
Yes.
got dogs. I have a bunch of dogs here, so they're all fighting right now. Not fighting, but
Oh,
playing. So if you hear all of that, that's what's going on. And I'm like, okay, knock it off. But yeah, I think they want attention, as you had said, Cal. About you hear
yeah.
them?
Yeah,
Yeah,
They
they're
know
there.
what you're
they're
feeling.
playing. And one of them is mom's big baby, Daisy, who is a standard poodle and has been
Oh.
Love standards.
wakes up in the middle of the night,
Oh,
2, 3 in the morning. Is just crying on my shoulder,
yeah.
and she's looking
Oh.
for mom because I'm staying in mom's
Oh.
room.
Yeah.
Surrounded
Yeah.
by everything mom, and
Oh, John, my heart goes out to you. I
yeah,
know that one well.
yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
want to get to some people's comments, please. I thank you
Okay.
so much. There's a
Thank
lot
you,
of
girl.
Right.
people
Thank
writing
Thank
you,
beautiful
girl.
you.
comments, and I want to get them on the screen.
Yeah.
And if I put them on, it's going to cover your beautiful faces. So I want to
Okay. Get
Okay.
rid
get
of
them
me.
on, and I can't thank you again so much. And I will
Thank
keep you guys
you.
updated. And happy
Yes.
holidays to
You
you.
too.
Somehow we'll
Bye,
all get through
guys.
this.
Bye.
Yes.
Bye, honey.
Okay. Good
Bye.
Bye.
night. Good
Good
night.
night.
Oh, wow. Okay, so
So
let's get some
sweet.
of these comments out. We have Karen. Outside my mother's hospice room, a family of foxes came 2 days in a row. The day before she passed, right to the yard in front of her sliding glass doors, spirit animals.
Oh my God, and Karen, I have chills on that. I have to
Yeah.
look up fox totem. I used to know it by heart. I don't remember it now, but that's a big totem right there.
Yeah.
Wow. Wow.
Here we go.
Keep
Keep a journal of all the moments after someone you love passes. You will remember them.
right on, Anna. I agree with that. And keep it now too. Keep it now.
Yeah.
Start that journal.
I'm going to try to get to so many of these comments. I'm so sorry we've been running behind. So it's true what you said about how do you say goodbye to your mother. Felt that way when my mom died. Been crying all day about my mom dying 13 years ago. Just checked into this podcast and did not hear, John, what you're going through, but so sorry to hear about your mom. Hugs. Thank you, Anna.
And there'll be a replay of this too. So
Yeah, so this is
you're
streaming
good.
to YouTube and also
Yeah.
Facebook and everyone. It's immediately live, or I'm sorry, available
Oh,
for replay once
yeah.
it goes out. So um, Nina had put up the link. If you guys want to join us on video, you're welcome to do that. We have
Yeah.
about 5 more minutes left, trying to get
Yeah.
through so many of these. She never got over the death of my sister who passed at childbirth.
Oh,
As I sat by her side in labor, she did come to me as I drove from the hospital and acknowledged and said, "I love you too."
wow. That's amazing. That's amazing.
Yes.
I actually had somebody that told me that story about how the sister, one of the siblings didn't survive, and one did,
Mm.
and the mother who had these siblings, years later showed the baby who was at 16 or 17 at the time would have grown up in heaven and appeared in front of the mother.
Oh, wow.
It's a wild story.
Mm.
So Nina, your papa passed in '98. He waited until you got there, and when you
Mm.
got there, you leaned down to give him a kiss and told him that you loved him. He opened his eyes and mouthed, "I love you." He took his last breath. He waited until I got there. How great for you that he
Oh,
did.
that is awesome.
Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't.
Yeah.
That's great, Nina.
And then Carol, I had this comment earlier, but I don't know if everyone saw that. I wish you well, John. I'm so sorry. I lost my mother in 2002, the grandma in 2003, and
Oh,
then my 6-year-old daughter in
uh,
2004. Wasn't even
oh, that's too
40.
much loss, Carol. That's way too much loss. Oh, and your daughter. Oh, oh yeah, yeah. Life is so tough, isn't it?
Yeah.
God. Oh, honey, I'm sorry to hear that. Mm,
Yeah.
wow.
Let me
Well,
see if
John,
comments are coming in. If any more, let's see here. Okay, we've got Carissa. Hello, I tend to get visions, images. Got one yesterday of family waiting on the other side for friends, young cousins. Sad, but comforting at the same.
yeah. Hi, Carissa. Yeah, it's amazing.
John, it's important to take a minute for you, meditate, breathing to help. Yes, thank you. I
Yep.
really have been doing that, and I will be going back on the 20th because my friend who's watching my cats is going out of town, so I'm going back to arrange all of that and then come back.
Oh, you are. You're gonna go back to LA and then back?
Yeah, and then
Oh,
back
wow.
at some point. Yeah,
Okay.
because it's
Yeah.
the holiday time, and that's the thing. This is like
He can't stay
never
there?
good.
Well, you and I'll talk about
It's
that.
never a good time for this to happen, but especially
No,
not during the holidays.
no,
You
it
know what I
isn't.
mean?
Yeah,
And then what do we have? We have Julie. Your mom has great taste in animal poodles are the best loving smart dogs ever. Yeah,
I
she had
agree.
standard poodle and then she had Great Danes before that. So yeah. So
Wow.
yes. And
Mm.
then Nina, don't be sorry for anything, John. We're all here for you. And I know you guys have been. And I can't thank you enough. And I know I just give that heart um, reaction because I'm just so overwhelmed with what to say, honestly. And
I
I'm just trying to send it telepathically to you and thank you. Got Daisy right here. Let's see. I don't know if you see
Oh,
her.
hi, Daisy. Oh, she's so cute.
She's trying to get
Hi,
my
Daisy. Yeah.
yeah.
Well, John, I want you to take care of yourself. I
Thank
want
you,
you to
Cal.
rest,
Love you so
breathe. I
much. Thank
love
you
you
for
too,
everything.
honey.
You've been
Just
such a support.
and we're all here for you. So just, be in the moment, be present in the moment. Take notes so you don't forget. These are really important times, and this is where the gems are. This is the sweet spots. This is
Yeah.
it. And as a soul, this is the deep. You're in the deep part of the ocean, and that's
Yeah.
uh, a place to be in. It's an important place, really important place.
Yeah.
Most important place, frankly. Okay?
Yeah. No,
You're a
really,
deep person, so you just stay your deep soul, honey. Don't forget that. You're
yeah. Thank
helping
you
your
so
mom
much.
with this transition. And that was probably your agreement, John.
Yeah.
You know, we all have agreements.
Yeah.
Anyway, I
Okay.
love you,
Love
and
you, honey. Thank you.
we'll I will talk to you soon. I'll talk.
All right.
Bye, everybody. Thank you for helping us with this show tonight.
Yes, and happy holidays. I know we're having a couple more shows before the holidays, and please be sure to join the Both Sides Now TV community. You can get there by clicking on the Both Sides Now TV page. At the top, there's a visit group button. Click that and then hit the request, and we'll get you in the group. And just love all your love and support. Can't thank you enough.
Bye.
Take care, everybody.